Education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So subscribe and hit that bell icon right now. So today I'm going to be reviewing the movie called Lightyear, which is in fact Buzz Lightyear. So if you don't like spoilers, then please do not watch this video, as I'm going to be speaking about the whole movie. So first of all, I want to say there are 3 bits on the end of this movie in the credits. So if you do not stay till the very end, till the whole screen's gone blank, you will miss those 3 bits, one of which is vitally important. So do not miss those 3 bits if you're going to the cinema to watch it. So yes, I went to see Buzz Lightyear, but the film's called Lightyear. And basically it's the story of the movie of how Andy came to be in possession of the toy Buzz Lightyear. So the movie starts off by saying in 1995, a boy called Andy got a toy from a movie he watched in 1995. So basically in 1995, a boy called Andy got a toy from a movie, and this was a story, is what it says. Words to that effect. So I thought it was weird that they created a movie within the movie, if you know what I mean, because they tell you it's a movie, and that's how Andy ended up with a toy, because he got it because he saw the movie, and this is the movie he saw. So it's kind of weird because they're already saying it's a movie, so you know it's fictional and not fact in this way. So that was quite strange. So this is basically how the movie starts off, and Lightyear is his name in this because he's basically in outer space and he's fighting off like creatures, and he goes on this planet with his like I was going to say business partner, but space ranger partner, because he's a space ranger, and he goes to this planet with this space ranger, and she and him land on this planet, but it's meant to be uninhabitable because it's got creatures that come up from the ground and try to basically eat them, and well, suck them into the ground, presumably to eat them. So it's meant to be uninhabitable, but what happens is they end up being stuck there because they haven't got the right crystal power to go, or crystal fuel cell it's called, to leave the planet. And they want to get the whole like crew off the planet, but they just can't do it. So they have to invent a new crystal fuel which will transport them back through light years of time. Well, in this case, transport them into the future light years away in order to get this crystal right. So basically, they have to design a crystal to push themselves through the space at such a hectic speed, like they really need to get up to 100 miles per hour speed, and then, or 100 light years it probably is. I don't know how they measure the time in space, but it's like they need to get it to 100% basically. And anyway, to cut a long story short, Lightyear ends up going to the future every time he tries to go into this spaceship with the crystals to try and get up to 100% power to be able to go back in time. So he needs to kind of go in the future to go back in time, as far as I understand. So basically he wants to like be able to get off the planet. He's doing whatever it can to get up to light speed by inventing these fuel cells to be enable him to do it. So he wants to be with his ranger partner so that they leave the ship and get the planet, and get off. Well, they do end up creating a spaceship up there in effect, but they need to get off that planet and go back to where they can have a habitable place. But over the time, what happens is Lightyear ends up going to the future, and what seems like 4 minutes to him is actually 4 years. And so he misses 4 years of his time with his space ranger partner and with all the people he's made friends with over the years, but hasn't really got any friends because he's too busy worrying about the future and trying to get back to a place that he's said he'll get back to, but he actually physically can't, and he won't give up trying. But the problem is, when he won't give up trying, he loses years of his time in the process, and everyone else ages, and his space ranger partner, she actually gets married to a female, so she gets married to a lesbian. So that was quite controversial, I've been told, about this movie. But it shouldn't be. It's like, why is it controversial? Women love women, guys love guys, men love women, women love guys, everyone loves each other. Who cares? You know what I mean? Just be love and enjoy love. It doesn't matter what gender you love at the end of the day. You know, what's most important is that you love each other. Love is love at the end of the day. And so anyway, there's a lesbian in it. I mean, she's a person of color. She's a space ranger. She's Lightyear's companion, if you like. And you see her get married, basically. Well, I presume she gets married. She has a partner anyway. You see her have a partner, and she gets pregnant. Now, you might ask yourself, how does she get pregnant in space if she's got a female partner? I will leave that to imagination, but basically they have a child, and then that child grows up and has grandchildren, and then she dies, and that's a really sad point in the movie, because Lightyear and her was very, very close. They were together for ages as space rangers, and he always promised her that he'd go and be a space ranger with her again, and that he'd be able to get them off this planet, but he couldn't in her lifetime. And so it's really, really upsetting. And he missed basically being friends with people and spending time with friends and having a life, because he was too busy trying to get back the life that he'd lost, and he didn't realize what was in front of him at the time. And I guess that's kind of a moral to the tale, is like, you know, you need to appreciate what you've got right here, right now, instead of looking to the past and trying to grapple and get it back. You need to actually enjoy the moment, and you need to love being how you are now in this life. You know, that was a really, really important theme throughout the whole of the movie. I found that, you know, sometimes you can't turn back time. You can never really turn back time, but he's kind of going into the future but wanting to go back in time at the same time. So it's because he always wants things to go back to the way they were, but things change, and instead of him actually embracing the change and actually like living for the now, he's too busy trying to go into the future to set right the past mistake he made by crashing on this planet, basically, and damaging the crystal fuel cell that would enable him to get off the planet. He always like blamed himself, and so he never really ended up having a life. All the people on the planet ended up having a life and growing and aging, and inevitably some of them dying, when he didn't even have much of a life, because he's too busy like going through light years, and like 4 minutes of light years is 4 actual years. And so he's very much ended up being quite lonely in that respect. He's always determined to do things on his own and to succeed. But this film showed a different version. Like usually you see in movies, people trying against all adversity and actually succeeding in the end. And that's kind of like the whole theme of the movie. This was very different in the fact that it was like try and try as you might. Sometimes you just can't change the past, and there's no point in living in the past. It's better to live in the present moment and enjoy what you have got and create a future and make the most of it, you know, rather than looking back to try and change something you can't actually change anymore, and other people have moved on by then anyway. And so stop living in the past and live in the present moment, and then you can have a good future. I thought that was a really strong theme throughout the whole of the movie, and I really liked that. There is no sex in this movie, but obviously as there's a lesbian who's pregnant and has a kid, you see her bump, then you know obviously there's some sort of implication of something like with genitalia going on. Also with Lightyear later on, he makes a remark about his ranger friend and says about something they used to do with their little finger, which was like touching to infinity and beyond, but he didn't say exactly what happened and how to do it, and so they thought he meant naughty business. He's like, no, it wasn't like that at all, which obviously if it was, it would mean that she was bisexual, which she didn't appear to be. But who knows? So, I was glad they had a lesbian in it. I thought it was good that they showed an LGBT Character, I would love to see an asexual character in an animation. I think that would be really amazing. But we have got Frozen, and yeah, it seems like Frozen does have a asexual character in it, but we will wait and see if they change that character into someone who does get attracted. So we'll find that out, but I digress. And so with Lightyear, one of the things I loved about the movie is it's got loads of robots in it, and I didn't know this from the trailer. I didn't gather from the pictures and stuff that it had mountains of robots in it. So throughout the whole film, basically, I said he's trying to go forward in time to get time back. Basically, they lost because he crashed on this planet that's meant to be uninhabitable. But by the time he's gone through all the light years, the people have made the planet habitable and dealt with the creatures that come up from the ground and try and swallow them and pull them in by basically just chopping their tentacles off. And in the end, they provide a protective barrier, like a shield, around the whole of the kind of like place where they're at, so that creatures can't get into it anymore, but obviously they can't get out of it either. And so that's very, very interesting. But they've gone from making a place inhabitable to making it habitable and living a life and having a life. They say in the end that the only one that didn't have a life was Lightyear. But I loved all the robots, because what happened was they were getting in some of the story, Lightyear ends up having to fight off these robots, because these robots basically want to take over this this planet that they're on, and kind of wants to not let anyone go back or get out, but they kind of want to they do want to kind of infiltrate the planet, or this is how it seems. But there is a twist, and it's a very, very interesting twist. I don't know if I should tell you, but basically Buzz Lightyear in the movie, ends up playing another character. So ends up being two Lightyears, one who's an older version of him that's gone through time, but the older version, he ends up fighting because the older version's not good. The older version wants things to go back the way they were so badly at any cost that he's willing to jeopardize the friends and family that people have made over the years of being on this planet, in order to get his wish of being back in time and being a space ranger with his space ranger friend again. But this would mean that she wouldn't have had a relationship. She wouldn't have been with a woman. I think they got married, had children, and so she wouldn't have had that if they went back to just being rangers. She wouldn't have met her love of her life, wouldn't have a family. And he now has a granddaughter. Lightyear does. Well, she has a granddaughter, I should say. His ranger friend, before she dies, she has a granddaughter, but the granddaughter ends up coming to work for Lightyear. So in a way, it's like his, I don't know if you'd call it his own granddaughter. It's but it's like a member of his family anyway, and she's like her mum in some ways, but completely different in others, because she's afraid of space. And so this is really, really funny. And basically, when he meets this granddaughter, he thinks she's amazing. She can do what the mother can do, but she can't. She's the opposite of her mum. She doesn't like space. She doesn't really know what she's doing. She's quite scared. She ends up having these friends, one of which is an ex-convict, and an old granny type, but ex-convict, and there's another person, a bloke, who's quite scared of stuff. So basically they're all misfits. The granddaughter and the two people with her are all misfits, and he's always wanted to be independent, do things on his own, Lightyear has, but that's not got him very far, because it's basically he's lost his space ranger friend, who eventually died, but he wasn't there for her throughout the years much, because he was too busy trying to correct his mistake and not living in the now. He was too busy looking back, and he wasn't living in the present. And she did get him a gift though, called Socks, which is a cat, but it's a robotic cat, and this robotic cat is like a ninja cat. I mean, it has a blowtorch coming out of its paw, for example, and it's this cat that is able to find the coordinates needed to create the perfect fuel cell, so that Buzz is able to go back in time eventually, in theory. But when he meets his older self, he realizes that he's better off staying in the life he's actually got now, because if he changes things, like I said, the granddaughter won't exist, and he actually gets on really well with her, and the new misfit friends he's found won't be his friends anymore, and and so life wouldn't have happened the way it happened. And sometimes it's better to just be grateful and thankful for what you have, and not try to get something back that was never meant to be in the first place. Everything happens in life for a reason, and sometimes we just have to move on, and we have to not look back and realize that we're flogging a dead horse in some ways. That expression means we're like hanging on to something that really is no good for us anymore, and or a something or a situation. And so it's very, very interesting, this movie. I thought it had a really good moral to the tale, very kind of interesting, because all the other movies I watch, it's usually like keep going, stay determined, and you will eventually succeed in your dream. But it was his original dream that then was causing him a problem, and it was shattering other people's dreams in the end, and he was actually better off staying in the present moment and looking forward to the future than he was trying to change the past. It's very, very interesting. I would love you to see it. I thought the film was fantastic. I loved the special effects. I loved the robots. I loved the storyline. I thought it was very well thought out. I love the fact they have a lesbian character. I like the fact there's no actual sex shown in it. I thought it was good in terms of camaraderie as well, because obviously the two main characters, Lightyear and his space ranger friend, had a really good camaraderie, really good deep friendship, got on really well. I thought that's very good for asexuals who appreciate deep friendship. And I just liked the film overall. I thought it was a really good film. I liked seeing Lightyear's different costume changes as well, and it was just very intriguing. I was really enjoying the film, and like I said, at the end of the credits, there's three bits in the credits. And one of the characters is still actually alive, the baddie. So if you didn't watch the ending, you wouldn't know that. So very important to watch the credits, and that includes after the copyright page has occurred. So I would highly recommend you go and watch it. Have you seen it before? What did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of the characters? What did you think of the moral of the tale that I talked about? I'd love to know what you think. Post your comments down below. As always, thumbs up this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, hit that bell icon so you never miss an episode. Love you lots. Take care. Bye. Bye. Enjoy the movie.